And next, we had Randy Orton versus Cesaro. Not really much from this matchup before it devolves into a disqualification because Tyson Kidd ends up getting involved, at which point Kane comes out and says, considering the stakes for these matches, I'm going to restart this match, but as a handicap match, Randy Orton versus Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. Not a bad matchup here. There was one kind of freak moment in the matchup where Tyson, I think, kind of messed up hitting a neck breaker on Orton, and the crowd kind of jumped on him for it. But it didn't last long, thankfully. Kidd had a nice recovery because he got some really cool-looking stuff in, later on. His pinning combination and some of those sweet kicks that he does. Orton ends up planting Kidd with his rope-hung DDT, takes Cesaro out with a power slam at one point. Kidd tries to do a springboard, ends up getting caught in the RKO, and Randy Orton beats the WWE Tag Team Champions for the win. So he gets the victory there.
Yeah, not really a huge fan of that either, but I mean, I guess this is just WWE saying that the tag team division isn't important.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, I think everybody saw this coming from a mile away. I mean, it's Randy Orton, and even
I could have seen it coming from a mile away if it was just Cesaro, but it's just, you had to make it a handicap match and have him still overcome.
Right. I mean, that's just how OP people of Orton's stature really are, and that's nothing.
Which, I mean, really, it's not even necessarily just Orton. It's just main event singles competitors. Like, I'm sure that if it would have been Orton or Cena, and it's not even all of the main event guys, it's just the baby faces. Orton, Cena, Reigns, I would say probably Ryback at this stage. Really, like, that whole crop, and if Sheamus was a baby face, he'd be in that crop too. Bryan, I'd say probably also. People won't want to admit that, but he's that kind of guy too now. And maybe borderline even Ziggler, I could see doing that. So yeah, that's just how WWE goes about things. Heels suck, baby faces are amazing, and that's just what you're supposed to perceive it as.
Exactly. Then we go backstage with Seth Rollins, JJ Security, and Kane. Rollins is pretty much giving Kane a hard time, for even making these matches. He reminds Kane, hey, the top priority of the Authority is to protect the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. That is me.
Oh, are you sure about that, Seth? Because it seems to me like the top priority of the Authority is to make sick rhymes.
Oh, yes, son. And
I couldn't tell if you were going to go for a Macho Man, ooh, yeah, or a freaking Roman Reigns, ooh, ah, and you completely went around all of it.
Yeah, you know what? That was kind of my intention because I didn't even mean to do Macho Man. I just kind of meant to do like an oh yeah son, like kind of like a general thing. But then I noticed it sounded like Macho Man, so I'm like, I'm gonna partially own it, but still evade it at the same time. God,
all right, continue. Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, but Rollins says, that is the priority, and then Kane says, are you really scared of Dolph Ziggler? And then Rollins is like, no. But since you don't get it, I'm gonna take charge here. I'm gonna have a match tonight against Jamie, and Jamie's going to lay down, aren't you, Jamie? And then it's funny because Jamie, rather than willingly volunteering like I expected him to, he kind of pipes up and says, well, Seth, all due respect, why do I have to do it as a secret weapon of the Authority when Kane is the reason that all this has pretty much occurred? Rollins says that's right. So why don't you and I have a match tonight, and then you lay down, and we can just really resolve this all out. And then Kane, says that, he has no choice. And, I'll do what's best for business. But not before, though, getting a little verbal altercation with Noble and saying, the only thing I'm thinking about is something involving a car battery and your testicles. So kind of a shout out to his feud with Shane McMahon there. Not a bad segment, kind of lays the groundwork for Kane's internal struggle later in the show. Is he going to do what's best for business, or is he going to salvage his pride and take the fight to Rollins? After that, we get Adam Rose on this show. Yes, you heard that right. Going against Dean Ambrose. Not really much to say here. Adam Rose got some offense in, including, his spine buster and a couple of his forearms in the corner and whatnot. But ultimately, it was not enough. Ambrose comes back with a bulldog, some of his other offense. Oh, also the slingshot lariat that he does, the rebound lariat, and dirty deeds for the win. Now, this was close to being kind of a heat of the night for me if they didn't do what they did later in the night with Dean Ambrose, so I forgave it. So, yeah, this is a pretty nice squash match, and Dean Ambrose actually wins. So I think that's something we can all get behind.
Yeah, Dean Ambrose for the win. from what I understand, the bastard Dave Mastiff was actually one of the Rosebuds tonight. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he was on TNA's second season of British Boot Camp. He's very, very athletic for as big of a human being as he is. Entertaining guy, and he was in the Rosebud section tonight, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, I don't even know what to say about this, just because, like, what can I say? It's Dean Ambrose, and I guess maybe this is them trying to reestablish him because he lost to Cena.
Right.
I don't know. I don't even know.
But after that, we see Kane, backstage. Show confronts him and says, hey, I've been on both sides of this thing. The Authority is the winning side. You and I, we made a commitment to Triple H and Stephanie. Just, think about your job and think about what's best for business, and know that Orton as the next champion is not best for business. You just need to do what needs to be done, Kane. And Kane says, I will be facing Rollins, and I will do what's best for business. We go from that to Stardust versus Fandango. Not really much to say here. Very quick matchup. Stardust wins after the disaster kick. But I guess the only worthy point of discussion here is that Fandango actually gets a mic after the match, and he says he finally figured out what the problem is, and he more or less dumps Rosa Mendez and re-embraces his old theme music and I guess like his old gimmick, only this time he's going to be a solo dancer. Maybe no more female dancers accompanying him to the ring, and the crowd does the cha-cha-cha of the old Fandango theme. See, here's the thing that kind of just leaves me a little bit exasperated, is that I like Fandango. I like Johnny Curtis. Like, you and I still make jokes this day about his season of NXT. Why do you have chloroform? Why don't you have chloroform?
It's why don't I? It's why don't I? Yeah, he says, why don't I have chloroform?
Yeah, why don't I have chloroform? Like, he's a funny guy, and I feel like any gimmick he has, he really puts everything of himself into it. I mean, we've lauded praise on him in past Twitwows, and really, I stand by it. Nothing's really changed. The problem is, and I hate to be that guy, but I've just got to be honest, I can immediately see this dying next week, because the UK is a very special crowd. I don't know if fans are really going to cha-cha-cha next week. I hope they do. I hope it sticks, but I just see him once again getting lost in the shuffle. And I'm not asking him to be a main event guy, but I would love to see a guy like Fandango answering John Cena's open challenge one week. I'll be honest. I think that'd be pretty interesting. But, he's babyface now, and he's doing this dancing. He tweeted out a thank you to the UK crowd. I thought that was really cool. I want to see it click for him. I just don't think it ever really will. So we'll see what happens, though.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think, I love Fandango. I guess I should specify, I love Johnny Curtis. I love the dude that is using Fandango as his gimmick. I don't know what his real name is. He used to be, no, that was a different guy. Never mind. But regardless, I was thinking of Johnny Prime, but that ended up being Lucky Cannon. I don't know if anyone remembers him. Yeah, he's awesome. And yeah, like you were talking about that gimmick that he had in NXT before it became NXT at Full Sail. So golden. Him and Maxine as a unit were great. And now we've gotten bigger and better things from both of them, really, because he's on the main roster doing the Fandango thing. She's in Lucha Underground, absolutely killing it as a valet. They've done quite well for themselves. And now, I mean, really, if you look at it, that whole show revolved around the two of them, Derek Bateman and Caitlyn. And Derek Bateman is now EC3. And Caitlyn went on to become a Divas champion, one of the most over women on the roster, and then by now she's already retired. So, I mean, NXT, whatever season that was, I don't know, it was NXT Redemption, but it was after they just gave up on trying to make it a game show, and they just treated it like Superstars 2.0, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was amazing because, like, he was running around and, he chloroformed Matt Stryker and shoved him in a trunk. And then, like, they were trying to find somebody that might have taken him, because Matt Stryker, when they put him in the trunk, then he got abducted, because then Johnny Curtis went to follow, I think it was Alicia Fox with the chloroform rag in his hand, so that could have led to whatever. But yeah, Matt Stryker got abducted, and then they were walking through the hallway looking for someone, and my favorite part of that whole scene where they're looking in the hallway for somebody, frickin' Justin Gabriel just walks up from a side hallway, and Fandango greets him by pointing at his face. And he's like, this guy's too soft. There's no way he did it.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, I feel like, again, I'm not saying this guy is like born and bred to be a main eventer or anything like that. I would just like to see
You know
him
what though? That's
do
the
more.
thing. Like maybe not a main eventer, but he's got literally everything that the WWE looks for in their main eventers. He's something like 6'3". He's got adequate height. He's ripped to shreds. He is charismatic. He's a good enough talker. I would go as far as to say that given certain gimmicks, he's an amazing talker. He's super entertaining. He's shockingly good in the ring. He's not missing anything. And yet they continue to give main event spots to guys like Big Show and Kane.
You know what? And again, it's like I said, I'm not even really asking for that much. I would just love for 1 week Cena issues that challenge.
And Fandango answers it? Oh my God, yes.
Fandango answers it. They have their match. Because, see, here's the thing. Because you had a little slipper, and I don't blame you because it's the best thing going right now, with Lucha Underground. You know, it's kind of a similar thing that, Son of Havoc's doing, because he dumped his valet, and now he's been on a winning roll. I'm not asking Fandango to win. I'm just asking him to pursue those opportunities and really show people what he can do really on his own, not so absorbed with, dancing with a partner. Can you imagine?
That's the crazy thing, though. Like, if you would get a photo of John Cena and a photo of Fandango, and or maybe even get a photo of them standing next to each other with their shirts off, in their ring gear. It doesn't even have to be just with their shirt. In their ring gear. And you showed that picture of those two guys standing next to each other in their ring gear to somebody in like 1998. And you said one of these guys is the top guy in the company in 2015. And the other one is a low-card babyface comedy gimmick, basically. I guarantee you the results would not unanimously say John Cena. It would be a split decision, if not favoring Fandango, because he has more of a main event look. He's got, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I should stop.
No, I'm really glad we had this discussion on him, because I feel like it's been kind of, not necessarily overdue, but you and I have always felt highly of Johnny Curtis for some time.
And even back when he didn't have any kind of facial hair, he kind of looked like Mark, what's his name? Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, he kind of looked like Mark Wahlberg without facial hair.
Well, we'll see where he goes from here now that he's going to be purely a solo act again. I'm pitching for him to answer the Invitational 1 week.
And the crazy thing, too, is that this is the first time he's ever been a babyface as Fandango.
Right.
Because before, when he had this amazing music that everybody loved and wanted to dance to, he was a heel. So he would face babyfaces and people didn't know what to do. But now he's a babyface. He has the babyface music. It's finally connecting. And now maybe he might actually get some consistent reactions beyond just the super smarky crowds.
Right.